Welcome to They Not Like Us. I'm your host, Aaron, and each week we'll dive deep into powerful stories, expert insights, and real conversations with extraordinary guests who challenge the status quo and inspire us to change. If you enjoy thought provoking conversations, learning from people who've overcome adversity, or you're simply on a journey of growth and self discovery, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Your support helps us continue bringing valuable content and amazing guests. So join the community and let's keep growing together. Peace. Hello, welcome back to They Not Like Us. I'm your host, Aaron, and I'm joined today by Elona Lopari. Welcome to the show, Elona. Could you tell people a little bit about yourself, please?
So what I do is I help companies scale their purpose and profit so they can do more good in the world. And how did I get there? I'm an entrepreneur for 5 years now. 13 years I work in a corporate environment. I'm the C-suite. Chased the American dream, natively from Albania, moved to New York when I was 15. Thought that that would make me happy until I realized that that wasn't it. So I went through, down a spiritual journey, personal development, trying to figure out other things that were connected to my purpose. And now I like to combine business, leadership, which has always been my strengths, with some of the personal development stuff or spirituality, which is really helps you work with ease, build a business that's aligned with you, save time, do meaningful work in the world, but also live, your life with passion and meaning and fulfillment.
That's quite interesting, actually. So can you tell me when you kind of realized that the corporate definition of success wasn't really enough and you had that kind of internal shift and wanted to pivot into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, there was a moment in time where I actually got promoted to the C-suite level, and after some time, I had achieved a lot of the American dream stuff, which actually was instilled by my dad because he's the one that brought us here. So very early on, it's almost programmed with, you got to be successful, achieve the American dream, get married, successful career, safety, get all the opportunities that, were not available in my home country. So I had got married, I had my children, we bought a home, we had a dog, literally the white home with 2.5 kids with a dog and white picket fence, and then this successful executive level career, which I obviously worked very hard to get there. I was getting promoted every couple of years in the company I worked for, which was a Fortune 500, until I had this insight that all the results on the outside, what people saw, and also what I saw logically with the mind, kind of just didn't really align with the way I was feeling inside. Um, because I started questioning that, is this all there is? I guess I had achieved what I thought I needed to achieve. Like, what else do I do with my life now? I started to I guess I had an identity crisis. I was looking for something else, other things that I wanted to do. And for the longest, I had praised myself. I had got praise from my parents, especially for achievements. I always thought that I need to chase something, do something, be something, problem solve for somebody to be good enough and to be worth it. So a lot of those inner conflicts started to come up, and I could no longer ignore or distract myself with overworking or workaholism. And I already had a lot of problems with burnout, anxiety, almost at the verge of depression. I didn't get there, but some mental health challenges as well. So it really, stopped me on my track to take a look at what's happening on the inside and not to worry so much about the outside results that I had received, but I was really not happy.
Yeah, Tony Robbins once said, "Success without failure is success without fulfillment. Sorry, is the ultimate failure." So, and I think that's kind of what you're saying there. You can have all this kind of external achievements and success or what it looks like from the outside, but if you're not fulfilled inside, then you're not going to be happy, really.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I got to understand that there's a whole other level, because I thought that the success, the way I had defined it from the outside in, was the way that I knew how to define success. But there was a whole other inner journey that needed to get explored. so that I could really feel fulfilled and connected to the work I was doing, or even to the life I was living, or the day-to-day happiness and joy and gratitude, which now are emotions that I have fed and focused on. So, um, yeah, there's all the outside achievements cannot make you happy when you're doing them for the wrong reason. So now I like to say I happily achieve because it's connected to my purpose. It's no longer ego driven, but it's more heart driven and it's intuitively driven towards the thing that I think will be my contribution towards myself.
Yeah. Do you help others kind of redefine their idea of success and find that fulfillment as well?
Yeah, so my main work is focused on helping companies grow. So most of my clients come to me for the business growth, which is inconsistent cash flow or scaling issues. But 30% of the work usually ends up being some hard questions around the way that they are aligning with their visions or how they want to build their companies and how does that actually support their personal lives. Um, so we definitely have a lot of conversation around a lot of those deeper things. But then most importantly, the other part is you do want to grow a business that is obviously success according to your own definition, but we want to make sure that also you're enjoying your life. Because we all know how entrepreneurship and building a business can really make you a slave to the clock and you never get out of and you don't enjoy other parts of your life, which light you up as well. So kind of just doing more of a prioritization, focusing on the right things, cleaning out, clarifying the visions, and then working backwards towards implementation. Kind of the work I do.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually, because I think it does make a difference when people kind of align with their purpose sort of thing, or their yeah, I guess purpose, what they want to achieve aligns with what they're actually doing. That's when you kind of have true success and true happiness, right? Do we have kind of practical strategies that people can use to achieve that?
Yeah, I think the most important piece is spend time with themselves and ask them, clarify what is it they want to create in their lives, right? Because we all have gotten influenced and programmed by other people's desires of achievement or what success looks like. Taking the time to sit with yourself and figure out what that looks like for you, or what do you want in this phase of life, is really important because it's an exercise that's going to stop you, which happened actually voluntarily during COVID, right? We got our focus, we got less distracted, we got closed in. So a lot of us had to go within and realize our life and be like, well, is this the thing that I've been doing for years still the thing that I care about? And why am I doing it? So you start questioning things when you are taking the time to sit with yourself and figure a lot of those things out. And then once you have some clarity, you got to find the right resources and the right people around you to be able to make that happen. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, might not be people close to you. Life, relationships, and with the hybrid world that we live in, now you can get into both environments, which is really cool. And you can find, virtual communities that can support you in that vision that you have for yourself. And if obviously if you're an entrepreneur, our focus is to grow our businesses. So finding the right resources to be able to do that is important. I work under timeless pillars, which is branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. And then my unique, I guess, value proposition is that I help people connect all those pillars to their company. So you're not working just with the marketing or the sales or just branding or just the team. You're working all of it operationally together so that they're all working seamlessly under the big umbrella, which is your company. So everything works in flow and harmony. And obviously you can scale and grow from there, saving people time and, just focus energy around a million things that they can be this focused with. We all know how that goes. And yeah, that's kind of how I that's what I would share practical wise. I mean, for me, meditation and journaling has been two methods that I still lean on to go in and figure out some of those old stories that no longer serve us, or the fear, or things that I might be needing to clean out or clarify wherever I am in the journey. But people have different channels. Some people are very creative. I think creativity is also another great channel to tap into. If you like to draw, if you like to sing, or if you like to do other hobbies, I think anywhere where you can just come out of the mind and go, into and focus in the flow, you'll start to get some of that clarity and awareness.
Absolutely. It's important to get out of our own head sometime, isn't it? We kind of overthink, it gets really busy in there. We need to kind of step away from that. However, we find a way to do that. For me, it's the gym. For other people, like you say, it might be drawing, might be coloring, it might be meditation. There's loads of different ways, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's got to find its own, but it's important to have these practices because we are human beings, which is the hardest lesson I've had to learn because I was always praised for the doing. And I'm a left brain person, right? So I've always used my mind to make my decisions. So coming out on the other side and developing the other side of just being, and kind of using a lot of the right brain functions is important as well. Because again, when you just operate under one hemisphere, you just trying to control everything. You're a perfectionist. You're an overachiever, workaholic, all those things that hurt your health and your relationships and even just the juice and the joy and fulfillment of your life. Because then you're just was just doing one thing. Not you're a human being. You've got other things going on. So it's important to look at all of them. I think.
Yeah, it's important for people to kind of get that kind of peace and that balance for their life, really. And then you can kind of, from there, and that this is just from my own personal experience, I've been able to kind of unpack my identity and my purpose from being able to do that because I've been able to disconnect a little bit and step away. I think when you're living in it and your head's constantly going and you're not finding that peace, it's really difficult to do that.
Yeah, I mean, shifting between the macro and the micro is important because most of us, especially as an entrepreneur, it's always something to do. So it's hard to kind of go back out and look at the bigger picture of what you're trying to create because every day seems like a puzzle piece exercise. We're just like putting puzzle pieces together. So I think, yeah, it's important to have, practices in our lives to be able to do so, or even people that can support you with that. Because as humans, we can't see our blind spots, and we can always hold the spaces that we need for ourselves to be able to take a look at that stuff. Um, so, yeah.
Absolutely. And do you think it's really important for people to be able to kind of find their identity and purpose when it comes to business and kind of driving their business forward?
Well, it's crucial in the world we're living in, which is the era of authenticity, because we have so much advancements of technology. So now it's become almost a need to be able to be authentic. And how can you be authentic unless you know thyself? And when you're building a brand, whether it's your personal brand or your company brand, there's always a face behind, and people want to know what's behind, the human that you are, being exposed in front of them, I guess is the right word to say. So it's become very important to be able to be authentic, but the only way to do so is you have to go through that journey figuring that out. Who are you truly as a leader, as a founder, as a CEO? Because the more you do that, the more you start to attract the right clients, the right partnerships, the right relationships. Because business is really much like personal life. It's all about human relationships, right? Out of mirroring personal and professional. So I like to always work with both spheres. But yeah, it's actually a need right now to be authentic. That's the way to stand out. That's the way to attract the right people that you want to work with or people that you want to partner with so that you are, fulfilled and you're not just, attracting pain point clients or people that don't value you or don't appreciate what you're doing. And of course, also hinder their results because at the end of the day, a business must create amazing results. Otherwise, why would you? You can't survive. So I say in today's, environment, it's become a very important piece, which before we kind of been able to shy with.
Elona, I completely agree with you. I found quite an interesting stat on the matter, to be honest. So, 79% of business leaders believe that purpose is kind of central to success, but only 34% have embedded it into their actual strategy. What do you think about that?
Yes, I've seen that statistic live out in my day-to-day work. I think we are definitely moving on the other side where we have this in alignment, right? We love this world now. We all use it. I wish there was a better world. better word that comes up, but it's like harmony, right? Harmonize both, where obviously, you are still focusing on your P&Ls and your numbers and the profit piece, which is important, but companies also realizing that this is the purpose piece is also very important. So I think those percentages should definitely be increasing as more information is out there, as the world has changed. Because even if as a leader, you don't want to operate under this new model, you're going to get left behind because you can't attract top talent. You're not going to attract the right quality clients. Because most businesses always strive for high quality clients, meaning clients that pay them more. Retention is important in all the areas and all of that. So if you don't make the shift, but back to what you said, it's not just something we just put on the wall and it's we just recite it, in front of every team meeting, or we put it in our break room as our values, or whatever setup you have within your culture. It's embodying leadership goes first, right? I mean, just like parenting, if you're a parent, you lead by example. So the kids or your employees or your teams never do the thing that they say, that never do the thing that they hear you say, but they do the thing that they see you do. So just embodying that as a leader, and you can tell when it's superficial in the way that, because people could smell through fakeness. I think we're becoming even more aware on that now, because a lot of us are more aware and education's out. The smell through BS, I say. So unless you are, leading under those values of care, compassion, and service towards, others, and kind of, being very clear around what you stand for as a company, just beyond your service or your product, I think it's pretty much where we're going. So whether you want to resist it or you want to come on board, it's up to everybody. Because change management and resistance to change is usually a big, issue for companies, status quo, staying in the status quo. But, sometimes you will involuntarily have to change. So let's make the decision voluntary and conscious so that you can get ahead and be on the right trend, or the right track, I should say, with sort of where the world is going as well.
Absolutely. It's more than just putting some pretty words on a mission statement or on the wall somewhere. You've got to actually bring it to life and put it into action, right? And that does start at the top, and people need to see you doing it and see you showing the values that you believe in, so that they can kind of buy into it. It is very much like you said about the children. They definitely do what they see you do and not what you tell them to do.
90% of my learning, or the values my family's instilled in me, is from the things I've observed. So it's the same, with companies, because it's still a little family made of people, or a community made out of people, and that's how we learn and grow amongst those kind of environments, by role modeling, leading by example.
Yeah, and having that kind of values instilled in the actual company and the way that you operate as well will actually attract better employees as well. I seen another statistic actually that 75% of millennials would take a pay cut to go and work for a socially responsible company.
Absolutely, it will attract the team that's going to. I'm just forgetting the words. I made a post about this. Where are you attracting people that are just coming in for the wrong reason, riding the wave, getting what they want, ego-driven, or are you attracting people that are there for the mission, the cause, the purpose, which are going to be your best team, your most loyal people that are going to learn and grow with you throughout the mission? Because we all know the costs of turnover and hiring and all those processes and systems, and how much time and energy and money they take. So somebody that has those values already, and you already have those values portrayed in your company, they're just going to resonate with it. Because even here as a podcast, you have listeners that are going to listen to this and not going to resonate because their values don't resonate with the conversation. So you're not going to attract that listener. It's the same in a company. If you don't have that clarity around what is it that you stand for, what are those values, or even if you do, then that's actually making your job easier, because then you already know what you stand for, and you're going to attract those type of talent, which stops wasting your time with onboarding the wrong people, which tomorrow might be a toxic person in your team, which will impact everybody else. So yeah, either way you go, I think it's really it's like the foundations of anything we do, because that then opens up the path for the right people to come on board to track towards you. But anyone that's contributing and growing, I have seen those were the two factors missing, which is why I left where I was. I've seen this firsthand, and the company lost the top performer because I was one. I was getting promoted every couple of years. Obviously, I was adding value, and the results also showed same thing. But yeah, unless you understand how to do that, you're not going to even attract people that are just riding the wave for a little amount of time because they're in there for their own personal reason more than why they do what they do. So it's going to be hard to get them on board to sustain them long term.
Absolutely. If people are not kind of on board with the purpose and the vision and kind of direction the company's going in, then soon as a bigger paycheck comes in, or like the statistic suggests, a job that meets their purpose, they'll be out the door.
Right. And they will be doing the same thing, hopping everywhere. So until they realize that, what is it that they actually want. Because obviously you can work with a team. When I worked with in the HR space with the company, the Fortune 500 company, I realized 80% of HR and people is about their personal goals, right? Because a lot of times even your team doesn't know what they want. So working on some of that personal stuff really helps them clarify whether maybe this is a good fit or not. So then you're making a decision ahead of time without wasting years of investment in other ways. So people need that support too. So I like to help them implement this in their onboarding for their because again, if you can be more proactive in the process, then you don't have to worry about the problems that might arise.
Do you think a lot of them are concerned to make the switch because they're worried about if they go more purpose driven as a company or as a leader, that might affect the bottom line, the financials and that kind of stuff?
Maybe short term, you're not making obviously a power hungry decision or a profit driven decision that's just going to benefit you, profit wise. In the short term, you might make more money and you might increase your numbers. But if you're in it for the long haul, it's all going to even out where you're obviously going to make even more profit by being purpose driven. It's really about the outlook of the leader, whether you like a fast results, just like most humans want nowadays, or are you in this for the long term and you really believe in it? Because even statistics show that when the second is available, you will absolutely make more profits than you're able could have made. You just made those very short-term decisions for a higher ROI. Not to mention all the other effects that I just mentioned a few points here of the negative results that happen or the negative outcome that happens. But over the long haul, it will definitely help you become even more successful and sustain the company that you are operating under. The problem is most people like to take shortcuts rather than wait stuff out long term. But I think if you work strategically, you can do both for sure nowadays because there's so many channels to be able to do so, and plus behaviors have changed. People do want to invest with a company that is also making a difference. So it will increase your sales. It will increase your trust in the marketplace. So yes, you will have immediate ROI for sure, but you do have to be strategic in the way you align purpose with your numbers as well. There's, it's not just woo stuff. Obviously, it's got to connect to the sales and to your metrics for sure, so that you have your eye on both.
How would you kind of help somebody move from being a kind of a more traditional old school kind of manager into more of a visionary leader or a leader who's following the purpose? How would you kind of help those transition?
Old school just means like comfort zone, right? They're just in a comfort zone. So I think that's kind of what that meant to me as I heard you say it. But that's about it. It's got to be important to them, right? So it's not about me. It's got to be important to them. They're the ones that are identifying that they have a pain point or they're looking for more sales or cash flow or they look at the scale and they don't necessarily have the right resources in place, or maybe they're working a million hours a day. So it really shows up as pain points. And then we always listen to our pain points, the problems we have, more than, the positive stuff, or like, I wish I could be here or there. It's a very low percent of people that operate under, uh, the second part. So it has showed up to them as a problem first. That's why they're seeking help. And they probably tried a lot of things, and, they're not where they want to be. So it kind of forces you to move out of your comfort zone and learn new ways, new skills, new channels, update yourself on technology, update yourself on what are some other things that you can do. Because if you just stay stuck in that, you will not survive. So this is the biggest eye opening there ever is. Either you evolve or you die. What is the choice that you want to make? So, it's kind of clear. And then, people usually choose to evolve. Um, Sometimes it's out of fear, right? Because I don't want to, my company struggle. It could be their livelihood. So, unfortunately, fear motivates people more than just positivity and like achievement or what I could potentially be. We still are operating in this world. So it's the problems that motivate them, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's been proven as well, hasn't it, in scientific studies, that actually a negative event affects us mentally a lot more than a positive. So a negative effect will really, really affect us, whereas a positive one will just give us a minor boost in comparison.
Absolutely stays with us. Psychology. I got my master's in neuroscience, and we study the brain. It leaves us, longer events, and you can be having 10 wins for the day, but if you just have one thing that maybe didn't go your way, you can get really down on that, which is why focus and mindset is really important. And for you to focus on the gratitude and the continuous progress you're making, and the journey, rather than the big wins or the big failures that happen, and treating failures like lessons is important as well, because they really are stepping stones that are teaching you something. And I have seen that, growth always comes from the hard part and the pain, mostly. So just, it's all embracing it and looking at it with a positive outlook, and every day is a new day. So take the next step tomorrow and learn to rest, not to quit. I mean, it's been something that I have consoled myself many nights where, I am human too. I've gone through my trials and errors. But I say, let me just rest, and tomorrow I'll have a fresh outlook. And whatever comes up, there's always a new day. And sometimes that space really helps, because we always get into those loops of trying to solve a problem with the survival emotions. And it's never a really good idea. Probably making constant mistakes under those states. So just stay patient and ride the wave and feel the feelings. That's been my hardest part. Feel my feelings of negative feelings that come up. Learn how to process them, and then tomorrow's a new day. Go at it again.
Absolutely. It's crucial that we don't just quit all the time, because we're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have difficult times, and we need to kind of find that way, like you do, to, maybe just take a step back and reattack it when you've dealt with the negative emotions, and when you're feeling a bit more capable to step in and do what you need to do.
Yeah, we say the bigger the vision, the deeper the dips. So this is not for the faint of heart, especially if you're someone that is, feels that they're always going towards something. It's just part of the journey. But what happens is that you never go back to the old state. I love that I learned that part, because sometimes the brain would be like, well, I did all this work, and we would go into victimhood. But when I learned that you never go back to your old state, but you're always like getting better and better and better and continuously improving, I said, okay, so yeah, that's good. At least, I've gained all the experience, so I will not go back to that old version of me. But it's always going to be like that. I think as you get mature in business, those loops kind of, you can start to anticipate them and predict them a little bit more wisely and better, which is why I work a lot with awareness levels and consciousness, because the more you can see, the more you know how to ride that, and the more you know how to make decisions that are innovative, authentic, and you know how to move forward faster, especially when you have pain or losses or challenges. But that's really the work at the end of the day. So you can see more and you can be ahead of time, I guess, in a way. But also ride the timing, because timing in business is everything. Business is like a chess game, like almost like knowing when to make your moves and when. So intuition is very powerful, and we all have it. But the more you can, tap into it, the more smarter decisions you will make for your company.
Yeah, and again, I come back to the vision and the purpose, because that's kind of your sat nav, right? That's your guide. That's where you're heading. So even if you come off the route, you might go take a wrong turn, but it's going to help you eventually get back on track to heading towards that vision of where you want to be.
Your vision and your purpose is your light in the darkness, right? Because you can't see the whole path, right? I mean, that's the point why we call it a vision. Otherwise, it would be reality, and we don't have to worry about it. And we already know it. It has already happened. But to me, that's how I visualize it all the time. Vision and purpose is your light, your individual light. So it's important to keep the light on, especially when it's dark, or have other people around you that can shine that light on you, because I think that's another important piece. We can't always see our own stuff. To have supportive people around you, community around you, people that can see you when you can't see yourself. And when you can see your own light, is all the process of becoming and really being aligned with that. But that's kind of how I see vision and purpose. It's like your guiding light. And then you have that. And then when it gets dark, you at least have seen it. So you'll become, you'll stay in the journey and you'll overcome whatever needs to be overcame, because you already have the light and the light is guiding you, and you can feel it and you can hear it, and you know it's your light. So you're always almost like chasing and keeping yourself grounded to get to that thing. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I see it as our light, and we all have a unique purpose and mission here on Earth, right? So our light shines different from others. So yeah, that's kind of how I see vision and mission.
Yeah, it's great. And ultimately, a Harvard Business Review found that companies that do have a clear, defined purpose, they outperform the market by kind of 5 to 7% annually. So it shows that it's effective as well.
Yeah, the numbers show it, the results show it, the environment is obviously dictating for it. So, yeah, I don't know if we need to make a better case for why purpose, putting purpose first and profits. Well, I don't say putting it first or second, because I don't believe in order or hierarchy sort of thing, but it's more like aligning them together, right? Putting them together in harmony. And not every, obviously, day is going to be like that, just like personal life. Not every day you feel like, okay, I'm really making progress towards the most important thing. Some days you feel like you're, shitting on something, and something's going well and something's not going well. It's all part of the experience, right? Companies can feel the same. Sometimes they feel like things are being destroyed before they actually come into alignment, right? And I've seen company growth just like personal growth. Sometimes you have to go through chaos to get on the other side and break through. And companies have the same processes and cycles, because what is a company anyway? At the end of the day, just a collective of humans and just processes, so that you could, serve more humans, whether it's a product or a service. So, looking at it that simply, everybody goes through same growth cycles, really.
Yeah, it's about maximizing like the impact of your purpose and profit, right, for companies, because they want both. Ultimately, a company's there to make money, but then you're also there to serve people, and you have people work for you. So it's important that they get that balance right.
Yeah, and the companies that win or innovative are always the ones that are adding the most value, but that's still very purpose-driven, because you're continuously improving what you can do, right? And you're very self-led. You're led towards your client. You're led towards the results you're able to provide. So as long as your focus is on the person you're serving, you'll be okay always, and you'll connect it to the results that they're receiving. So this doesn't have to be something that's fabricated also. I think it's a combination between your own purpose, but also the people you serve. There's like a combo here. It's not just, you're not working alone. You're always working with other humans. So I think it's important to understand that that's why your purpose evolves. And I'm not where I thought I would be now. It's not exactly not what I had visions for my life, right? Because we only create under our own limiting, um, mindsets and limited visions and our pain and all of that. So it's smarter to create with others because then you are meeting your market needs, you're innovating with others, you are improving, you're receiving feedback, right? So I believe that evolution and that collaboration is necessary, and you adapting as a company is also very necessary, and being agile, which we're seeing in today's tough economic environment, is something that is really important. But I've never been a person to create on my own. I have my own, obviously, times where I do my clarity work and all of that. But for me, it's like I got to get fed with my clients, with the people that I serve. Otherwise, I just don't know what would be the right next step. So I think it's always a combination. And companies that listen to their customers are always going to be the ones, and that add massive value. Back to Tony Robbins, are always going to be the ones that are not only going to survive but thrive and always be innovative, no matter what circumstances.
Yeah, you talk about kind of talking to your customers and serving your customers. So how important is kind of community building when it comes to purpose-driven business?
It's tied very closely with the purpose part, because again, you are, always working with other humans and human relationships. So that's why community is important, where community is usually united towards a common set of values, a vision, and a mission, because people come together because they resonate with those three main factors. And that's how a community is formed. So if you're just, again, sales driven, then you only worry about your product or your service and you get addicted with that. You're like, it's the best thing ever. But if you're missing the other piece of how also serve the people that you want to help and get them together for that common set of values, vision, and mission, then you're missing a very important factor, because you're not getting the best of both worlds, where people feel also supported in other ways, not just by your service or your product. Because as humans, we just don't have the need to solve our problem. We have the need to connect with other people, right? So it goes back to psychology of kind of what we want. We want to belong. We're social creatures. We want to belong, towards something that's bigger than us. We want to feel supported. We want to connect. And for the longevity of your clients and your customers, obviously, they're smart to be able to do that, because people that are going to always be supported by you, whether it's directly with your product or service, or in the long term, maybe they'll come back to buy something else that you are launching. You need to be top of mind, and you need to be always adding value. It's not like job's done, and now I can just forget about you as a customer, because we all know the percentage of investment when we, get a new customer versus when we retain our current customers. So marketing and sales wise, it would be smart to create community within our company.
Yeah, I see kind of social media and the way it's used by a lot of companies, and it's very much kind of just pushing a message or, promoting the company and stuff like that, rather than actually trying to engage the community or engage their customers. I think that's somewhere that a lot of companies, not all companies, some companies are very good at it, but a lot of companies are kind of missing out on that opportunity to engage the customer and have that authentic connection.
Yeah, I mean, community engagement is a big pain point for tons of companies, and all of us at the end of the day, because again, it's tougher in an environment where there's distraction, right? So I think if it's more isolated communities, obviously, people are more engaged. But with virtual space, you can potentially join a million communities, so you don't know what communities you're part of. So I'm big on quality about that as well. Just joining communities where you can actually really add value, especially business communities where you're not just there to get a client or not just there to promote your stuff. But when it comes to companies that don't really have a community strategy, so to speak, of engagement, Yeah, you're missing out because what's the point of that? There's no engagement. You can't get access to information. You can't get access to feedback from your people. It's just you kind of just spitting out your offers. You probably don't even get sales, because you lack engagement. And that's a big struggle. So there's always things that we can talk about to increase engagement. But to me, what I've seen is being really in tune with what are the problems that community is encountering and meeting people where they are and always having their best interest in mind and being in service at all times. And if that's the right energy in there and the pure intention behind what you do, people eventually pick that up, and you start to increase your engagement. But if your purpose is just to use it as like a sales board, then you might as well not waste your time because it's not going to even help you with your sales. It's just going to be just a waste of time at the end of the day. So it defeats the purpose of what it really is. So it takes energy to build a community and keep going. It takes just like success. You can reach success, but it's hard to keep it up, right? So I say community building is the same because even that's got its phases of like going down on engagement, going back up. You gotta always innovate. Also, so yeah. Companies that invest in that are definitely the ones that see the returns on their investment.
Absolutely, and people are fed up of being sold to now, right? I know I am, because there's just constant getting rammed down your throat on social media all the time. So a lot of people are just fed up of that.
Absolutely. We're a very mature market. We got information everywhere. I think I read a statistic, 95% of our decisions already made when we're buying a product because we already consumed. So even when people get on sales call, it's really just a matter of, speaking to a human. Sometimes they just need a human, right? Because they already have made a lot of those decisions to buy. But yeah, old marketing, bait marketing, all these types of marketing don't work anymore because it's saturated, right? It's been there, done that. People want something new. Plus, there's a lot of distrust that has been caused by just being able to have a very low ticket entry in the online space, and anybody can go in and say a lot of things and overpromise and underdeliver. So there's a lot of that happening in the background too. So people are definitely more conscious and cautious.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit more clued up and a bit less easy to fool these days. So, I heard the term legacy over profit recently. What do you think about that?
Ask that again.
So the term I've seen bandied around a little bit is legacy over profit. What do you think about that kind of statement and that kind of viewpoint of business?
Interesting. I never heard of it before, but it takes me back to what we're talking about. Whether do you want a fast result or do you want something that's more sustainable, that's more aligned with where you're going and your values, which over time will give you more success anyway. And that would be the legacy when you're in the game long term, and this is just your life's mission rather than just something that you're doing on the side. Because your level of devotion, of commitment, of clarity of your purpose, of purity of your purpose, of your truth, and the way you make decisions, it definitely is felt when somebody is not coming from a needy, fearful place. They're very strong and confident in what they do, and they're actually are going to be around for the long term. So, yeah, that's kind of what comes up for me. Are you just a visionary, or are you just someone that is making the decision, on a short-lived basis, day tomorrow, and it's more fear-driven, where there's lack and there's not enough. So let me grab what I can now, rather than build, sustainability and have some basis and some depth in what they do.
Yeah, I've seen this a lot in places that I've worked. Is legacy is difficult to measure, so they don't really buy into it a lot. There's not a lot of stock given to it. Whereas, the day-to-day business, the statistics of what you're actually achieving, you can see those going up and down in real time. So people kind of buy into that a lot more.
It's we live in a material world. I don't want to go spiritual, but in the material world, we get measured by results, money, percentages, how many clients we have, how many followers we get, ego-driven measures, right? So yes, that's easier to see because it's in a reality that we all got used to. And the other stuff seems more like out of touch, out of mind. Uh, Not everybody obviously is at the level of awareness. They might not even believe it. So that's why it's easier to always stick with black and white. You can see it. Colors, everybody sees their own type of art, right? So I think that's what it is with business metric as well.
Yeah, I get that. Elona, I want to talk about the life school a little bit. So what can you tell me about it?
Yeah, the life school really rose from a moment of insight when I was trying to name my company, and something that aligned with my big vision that I've always had. I've always been someone that, you know, always wanted to build something. I love the process of building anything from nothing really. So it came to me kind of under an insight that through my personal and professional experience, entrepreneurship is just like school, non-traditional school, but a school of life where you're learning how to make good decisions, when you are learning skills that maybe you're not taught in traditional school. Every day you're put under a test personally, where you're learning something about yourself, you're discovering your gifts, you're discovering your potential, and then you're gaining skills and knowledge and education every day. So it just came to me that I would call it the life school, and every day we're the student, and every day we're learning and growing, and we're a life student, because the school of hard knocks always teaches you the best lessons. So and I also didn't want to brand it just for business because my vision's always been more holistic. I have never been someone that just believes in just, one thing. I believe we're a human being and we have other areas that we care about. And when we build a business, it's because we want to have more freedom. We want to have better health, better relationships, better wealth. So it's all these other areas that come into play. And the life school just sits very well with me. And plus, the logo is a tree because I always believe the individual is the trunk of the tree, the base. And then once you discover your authentic self and you stay within your own, strong base, and you're always working to figure out what that is, then everything else, the leaves or everything else is going to come towards you to help you grow and realize your potential. And entrepreneurship is the best for that because there's no limit to your growth unless you choose to stop. So that's how we connected for me, and I came up.
I like that. And yeah, you're right on a lot of that stuff as well, because Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who we truly are. So, and that is, what you're doing, you're helping people become who they truly are, not only supporting them with business, but life and stuff as well. So that's brilliant. One of the things I worry about with entrepreneurs and people who start businesses is that they sacrifice their personal lives a lot for their business. How do you kind of help people with that?
Yeah. It's because they don't know what they don't know, right? Depending on what their journey has been like, if they don't have the experience, they're just testing and trying. And entrepreneurship would be a big map field, just like trying new things all day, every day. So that wastes a lot of time. So the way I do that is through my gift of focusing people and working on the most important priorities that align their purpose and profit. So all the activities that they're doing are really aligned towards the bigger thing that they want to build. And my gift is to be able to operationally help them connect all those dots. So they're not working doing their branding here and their marketing over here and then their sales over here. So it's all streamlined into their operations, and they have very tight focus on what are the right priorities at this phase of growth. Because even business, that its priorities is the phase of growth, right? When you're a startup, you're just worrying about cash flow, cash flow, and that becomes your priority. Or you just haven't built a brand yet, so you need to put in a lot of energy into other activities like that. And then when you're more at scale, you're just working to streamline your company, remove yourself from a lot of processes, systematize a lot of processes, hire people, create automation systems, things like that. So your focus has changed at the different phases and stages of growth. And my gift, I usually work with 0 to 10 million, and I've had the experience to be able to see all the cycles under those revenue models. So I'm able to very quickly pick out what are the gaps and what are some of the priorities that we so that we're working smart and not hard, eliminating a lot of time wasted, focusing people where they feel better about building their business. Because as humans, when we know we're doing a lot of different things and we're frustrated, but we don't have a map and we don't know what's happening, it keeps us very frustrated. Most people just get discouraged, or they just procrastinate, or just, it takes them longer to do the thing that they want. But when people are focused and they're seeing the return on their investment, the return on the fruits of their labor, they are willing to stay around and do the work that's necessary to implement to get the results.
Yeah, I think it helps when you can have that kind of level of confidence when you're seeing some sort of result, some sort of fruit for your labor, because it can be demoralizing if you're just a little bit lost, especially as an entrepreneur. If you're a solopreneur, maybe starting out, when you have to do everything yourself, it must be really difficult to kind of stay on top of that. I know it's really difficult to stay on top of all that stuff.
Most of us, I don't say all of us, because you can have, a legacy, like a company, given to you by legacy or whatever. But I started solopreneuring. Most entrepreneurs are solopreneurs. And those are the levels and stages of growth: solopreneurship, entrepreneurship, and CEO, when you have a more structured company. So we all go through the same phases of growth. We all begin, me and myself and I. That was my biggest challenge, because I work with big teams. So when I went out on my own, I'm like, whoa, it's just me. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we all begin there, but don't stay there. That's the thing. And what I like that I've seen in my experience, Aaron, is that people think they just don't want to grow the business, but once they understand what it takes and they remove a lot of the wrong reason why they want to keep their business small and what's keeping them small, most people do want to realize their purpose and they want to help other people, right? So I've seen that most people do want to grow healthy, sustainable companies in their own ways. Obviously, you choose a million business models, right? There's no one right. It's just a matter of how you're going to package the thing that you want to do at the end of the day, structuring it out. Because everything, obviously, even business, somebody called it a business because it could be a very wide journey of business, can be anything. But then we created some structures around it, like there's marketing, and there's sales, right? So we need to structure things so that obviously we can be able to sustain them, and also make sense of the world and the way other people know about it. Because in business, you're not alone; you're always helping other people. So that's kind of what I've seen in my journey, that once the stuff expands, people don't want to have a small vision and just work for themselves, and they become just self-employed. Because you have tons of business owners, solopreneurs, they're just like, well, as long as I'm getting my salary, I'm paying myself, I'm paying my expenses, I'll just stay here. Most of the work, usually those are not my clients anyway, I'm always looking to scale them. So but most people, once they realize and overcome a lot of some of their personal stuff that holds them back, they really are willing to create impact and grow and evolve, because they're doing it for themselves first. They're getting all their fulfillment, right? Because you got to be selfish before you can be selfless. I always say that, because you got to do that for you. You got to be happy first, so that you can then help others. So I've seen that that does not stop people from growing, for sure, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. And I think when people realize that they can kind of scale, especially with the tools that are available now, you can scale your business a lot easier than you could maybe 10, 20 years ago.
We live in a blessed time. Obviously, with every opportunity comes the challenges. So there's so many ways, and we're overwhelmed and all of that. But all the channels that we have available today, but before it was brick and mortar businesses, door to door. Like, you can only reach a certain amount of people because that's how much capacity you have as a human. But with the way that we can reach people today, it's amazing. So, but that again comes with its blessings and challenges.
Absolutely. Elona, if people want to get in touch with you or they want to work with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on my website. It's almost like my home or my hub, elonaloparicoaching.com. And I have a few resources on there that you can tap into, whether it's the purpose side or the company scaling side, like what are the pillars to build a solid company that they can leave it as a legacy, exit from, or use it as a philanthropy channel. Usually those are the three reasons why you come to me. or the main purpose of why they want to do what they want to do. So they'll find resources on there. It's at ElonaLopariCoaching.com, or at least just get connected beyond this conversation.
No problem. I'll make sure I drop a link in the show notes as well to make it easy for people to find you and get in touch with you and stuff. Are you on social media as well?
Everywhere. Yes.
Cool. No worries. And it should be easy for people to find you these days. Elona, before we kind of wrap this up, do you have any final thoughts or messages that you want to leave people with?
Yeah, pay attention to your life. This has become even more important now as I've matured through the journey of entrepreneurship, through my experience of 20 years in the space. Follow your life, because if you follow that light back to what we're talking about before, it's always going to lead you the right step that's the right one for you in business and life usually. And that's really, you'll feel good about it and you'll feel fulfilled because it's part of your own authentic journey. Yeah, pay attention to that. Things that you are attracted to, things that light you up. What excites you? This is my new question that I'm always asking myself. What is exciting me? And I usually don't make decisions anymore around I must do this, results driven, goal driven, which are all important things, but there's better ways to be able to get to that other side. So just asking yourself what excites me most and getting into the habit of programming ourselves the other way now. I find we gotta program ourselves on the other end because most of us were not really even programmed that way. It's really going to start to lead you into things that give you joy, and just follow that. It's like breadcrumbs. It's tons of pieces. You call them things. Just connect your own dots in the journey, and just get education. You don't know what you don't know. Always be a life student. Always be learning and growing, and always your professional success will always be aligned with your personal success because you will take yourself everywhere. You'll take that in your business, in your family, in your relationships, everywhere. So I'm a big believer in investing in yourself. That's the best investment I've ever made, and I'll never regret.
Me too. I think that's great advice. Elona, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. Thank you. Take care. And that's a wrap for today's episode of They Not Like Us. If your brain isn't buzzing with new ideas or you're not feeling just a little bit more rebellious, you might want to hit replay and listen again. Seriously though, massive thanks for tuning in. If you've loved what you've heard or even just mildly enjoyed it, really, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. It's basically like giving your future self a high five and me a desperately needed hug. You are welcome. So, and if you really want to win some extra karma points, then leave us a review. 5 stars only though, because let's be honest, anything less than 5 stars is rude. It'll make me upset. It'll hurt my feelings. And I would say you don't want that. Maybe you do, but please just don't. And hey, if you've got a mate who's got some kind of life-changing issues, or maybe they're struggling and they're not even showing it, ping them over the episode. It could help them out massively. And sharing is caring, right? All right, that's it from me. So until next time, stay awesome, stay curious, and remember, being normal is overrated. Catch you later.